afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting, innovating, and amazing Propagandacast. I'm your host, Imperial Dane, the one, the only master of propaganda. We're off here to a 1 vs 1 on Nexus in the West Cities. Usem246 fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland. Taking on the role here of the 9th Panzer Division West East of this expensive runner, fighting for America, freedom, democracy. Taking on the role here of the 2nd Infantry. We got mechanized assault, defensive doctrine, and elite troops here for use with double infantry Panzerfaust versus recon support, heavy cavalry, and tactical support with triple infantry bulletins there for expensive run, including one for increased experience gain. Bit of a standout bulletin there, which is only available to the Americans. I believe it comes from the Ardennes assault campaign. And having the ability to gain your infantry 10% faster is a pretty big deal on your basic troops. Double rifle start there for expensive runner. Gun of the MG42 there for use. Standard stuff. Also, as always, please remember to like, subscribe, and share, and press that bell button. And also, a big thanks to my Patreon supporters, without which this episode and so many others would not have been possible. Alright, we got race moving northwards aggressively. Pioneers and heading northwards from the Congolese and tow machine is interesting enough heading southwards on its own. Bit more risky. They obviously want to use your machine gun actively, but this I feel like might be a tad much. This usually would be saying your grenadiers or your pioneers, and then have the MG42 close to the other unit, but oh well, pioneers all heading southwards. Interesting opening here, approach by use. Not entirely sure what the battle plan here is. Reason there was the grenadiers scrambled out of there. Not able to really fire back. They're going to be able to win that engagement, though. It will take some time. Likely, expensive runner might move forced to deal with that. We might try and push southwards. We'll have to see what he does there. Second grenadier is called almost on the for use. Rather than there's the MG42, pioneers come up the flank, and rather than likely going to move into support. Grenadiers have been doubled back here. The freshly arrived squad there. Rifle squad suppressed. Needs to try and deal with the other squad. Pioneers closing on the rifle squad there to aid in on the building, but also keep them suppressed here. Lots of maneuvering here. Grenadiers falling back from there as well. Decided not to push for the rear slants. Bit of a awkward start here for use versus expensive runner. Expensive runners making good use of the terrain here to make it hard for them to use the machine gun effectively. And again, the lack of nearby infantry is also making it trickier. Of course, we are seeing infantry being brought up to fix that, or at least attempt to fix that. Now the important turning about is getting surrounded by the rifle being focused down here. Pretty bad over there for use. Going to have to retreat. Pioneers going to need to focus down the rifle as much as possible. Getting some good damage in though. Taking advantage of the machine being the target of attention there. Pioneers should focus down the rifle like on these, in which case you should have a chance of being the rifle squad. Bit slow there, tried to drag away, which actually made it easy for the rifle to do a lot of damage. Second squad moving in, northern fuel being seized there, which means expensive runner will now actually do both fuel points in the early game. That's going to be pretty rough there for use. Going for a third grenadier squad here. One rifle squad routed, other squad falling back here. Further north, the rear continue to grab the fuel point here, rifling back into the building. Grenadiers could try and pursue, but likely won't. We'll have to see what use this to react to this early series of disruptions. I feel like using this case got punished for trying to like hit out to both fuel points and then couldn't decide which one to go for. I feel like if he just stuck to one, he'd probably in a better position than the actor is currently now. Expensive runners basically won both fuel points and users got zip. So that's always something to keep in mind in the Wehrmacht. You want usually a bit more focused approach early on, unless you're up against the British, since otherwise you're just going to have your elements isolated and just dealt with much more easily. In particular versus the American, where the riflemen have a significant advantage over most of the units. Use here going for the elite infantry or elite troops doctrine with concussive grenades, stun grenades, stormtroopers, the Eagle infantry upgrades, Panzer Tactician, and the Tyke Race. A solid doctrine. These recently used doctrine versus the Americans due to the access to the Eagle infantry guards, but also the concussive grenades can be useful to help deal with the rifle's advantage versus the grenadiers. The stun grenades prevent them from fighting back for a brief while, and the G43 significantly improves your grenadiers' chances to fight the riflemen. So, going there for the cuff point, we said 10-2, but we got sufficient infantry about here that's going to make it harder for use to get to the cuff point there, but he's still grabbing the fuel point here, also the northern victory point. Pioneers grabbing the munitions point here, we got flamethrowers up, and we do have tech there as well for Usem246 and the German army. Rifleman Lieutenant South is there, Grenadiers pulling in there, grabbing the northern fuel almost scattered, plus the northern victory point. Ambulance on the way there for expensive runner, we got Pioneers sitting south is there for use. Tech almost done with Pioneers following up there. Rifleman Lieutenant there further pulling away. Might be trying to bait his opponent into something there. Who knows? Or he's worried. Pioneers doing the rifleman slowly. Flamethrower is an AoE weapon, so if units bunch up too much in cover, the flamethrower becomes much better. And of course, it also gains a bonus for the unit in heavy cover. They're not light cover. So there are some things about the flamethrower that are worth keeping in mind. North Grenadiers remain on standby, and there you go. Basically just outmaneuvers uses Northern Grenadier Force. Going for another Pioneer Squad. Probably going to use that to light to mechanized company. Likely setting up here for the G43s. Will the MB42 join the fighting or occupy the building here to try and cover the fuel point? Okay, looks like it's not. That's good. Like to make a nice company up there for use. Back in our expense runner space, we got tactical support with the Browning light machine guns, half tracks, recon runs, strafing runs, and the Sherman Calliope. So as soon as he gets the command post, we'll be handing out light machine guns. We've got the ambulance ready. There's part healing reinforcement. Nothing else further going on there in expense runners base as of yet. We're happening northwards, 2-2 on the way there for use. MB42 they're covering up the area there, and nicely catching the rifle squad there, not quite enough to deal with them. Continuing southwards, we got Pioneers moving from the south there. More Grenadiers arriving, got G43 1, but they haven't actually fully reinforced. The G43 upgrade is not happening. Looks like things happening a bit too fast there for him. There you go, cancels that and pops a stun grenade. Stun the rifle squad there. Oh, just right next to it. But unfortunately, 2 punch will flame for the chances of the lieutenant who's quickly focused down. Up here north, MB42 joining to support the Grenadiers. The Grenadier squad out there, but the rifle squad there is in trouble. Half track out there for expensive runner, like going to be upgraded here with the anti-air package. Equipped with 4 50 caliber machine guns for anti-aircraft purposes and anti-infantry. The 2-2 in theory can deal with it, but it's going to be pretty tricky. You usually want 2 2-2s or a telemine and a 2-2, in which case the telemine's obviously doing all the work. In fact, generally it's the Wehrmacht. When it comes to dealing with light vehicles, the telemine is usually your best bet. A good deal of the time. We'll have to see what it goes for. Likely a Pack 40, 2-2's option. Oh, concussor grenade here. Not really doing any damage, so less effective, but Stormtroopers could be called in, but again, with a half check about, likely a Pack 40 here for use. Or not. Bunker up. Bit of an interesting choice. You'd figure he'd prioritise destroying the half track rather than the bunker here. That'd be, of course, something here that well, obviously, Hughes probably has an idea here which we aren't aware of. We can't read his mind, unfortunately. If we could make millions. Millions, I say. They're pursuing the half track. I suspect he's trying to get close enough to Panther first and then finish it off with the 2-2 perhaps. Back here, troops reinforcing. Healing, can begin equipping his men with Browning light machine guns. Need to fix up the 2-2 already, heavily damaged, dinged up. Medic bunker on the way, there we go, another 2-2. True 2-2s can take on an M5 half track and deal with it. Fun fact about the M5 half track, it was actually not very much used by the Americans. They actually used it primarily as a Lend-Lease vehicle since the M3 was superior to it in terms of like protection. Doing something with the G43s, 2-2 almost done, rather than pushing ahead here. Close to veterans one there, concussor grenade again. Active usage of it, thumbs up there to use. North side is open. After that, pushing ahead. Second 2-2 ready. So can he do it here versus expensive runner? Worth noting, expensive runner has actually light machine guns yet to equip any of his troops with it. Weapon racks also unlocked. So like lining up for bazookas. Both 2-2 recalls are now revealed here to expensive runner. Keeping up the pressure here versus Hughes, who's starting here to sort of gain control of the field. Of course, now losing the north here versus his opponent. Back here, troops reinforcing. Bravo squad they've routed, happening up north. 2-2 going for it, sensing opportunity versus the half tech, landing a few hits with the auto cannon. Second 2-2 gonna need support there though. Popping smoke, Panther tactician, he's racing for it, A bullet attempted to finish off the half team, get rid of course, that's going to be huge here for Usem246. If not, obviously, he's in a bit of trouble. Well, there you go. He gets the half-tag, I think. Just from a few more shots. And there we go. Didn't need the second one, but oh, wait, got the idea to have 2. Got the lieutenant here. Good work by Hughes. Definitely puts expensive runner in a bit of an awkward position since 2 armoured cars can actually quite a hazard to the infantry. Can make it hard for him to treat. And expensive runner reacts to this by going for a second half-track. That's actually a bit devious. And, I mean, it obviously has the risk of, delaying him further, but it's always got such a fuel advantage. It's not much. But it also, like, most opponents don't expect you to go for second light vehicle in situations like these. So there's also just the psychological edge. He's just going like, okay, his opponent thinks it's safe. It isn't. He's going to, of course, need to fix up the armoured cars. He's going for the Pack 40 as well. Cancels it. Oh. Rather than being hammered up north with the 2-2 in the Grenadiers for the G43s. Seizing the southern fuel point. Second half tech revealed. How would Hughes respond to this American audacity? Rifle pushing all forward here, backed up with the bazookas. A big push there by Expense Runner against Use. Bazooka 5 going for 2-2. Down to less than half of Gunnism when they can, but it's not much when they're being suppressed and hammered by heavy auto or 50 cover fire. They need to pull back the 2s to the base, get them fixed up. Use this with sandbags up north ground northern field point, almost got the southern field point. Half check the rifle in there. Big push there. Swarming in from there from Expense Runner against Use and the 21st Panzer Division. Bag of base here for Use. Need repairs. Healing. Also tech, perhaps. Going for Pack 40. Very good pick there. Holding up in the south there with some infantry. In the centre we got the resistance, the riflemen up with a half track. And he's holding up there, no upgrade. Oh, we are getting more G43s there. Machine gun holding up the southern victory point. And back in Expense Runner space, we got take up for him. Very good there. Use definitely wants to take up as well. And we got tank tracks now being laid down here by Expense Runner. Pack 40 there. Tech also annoyed for Use. Very good. Rifle taking up at the same time. Though, of course, Expense Runner has the advantage of once he's tech, he's also got the building. He doesn't need to do anything more. Use has to tech and then build the building for it. So there's a few more elements added to it. A bit more of an actual tactic taking for the Wehrmacht.
Commanders, be advised. Ability now ready. Squad, get ready.
Tech almost done. Let's move against the rifle there. 2 squads versus 1 G for the gun. Squad with the best engagement there for Use. Lining up for a push for the northern field point again. In the centre, I think need to retreat. He's moving up to a bit of fire support here, but need to be mindful of that. Could easily expose to some nasty shots there. There you go, half to move forward. Rifle squad suppressed up north to there. He's isolating them. That shaking is not going to be able to dive after the half check anyway, since there's bazooka teams nearby. We also got more advanced ambulance for Expense Runner with the major next to it, setting up fort retreat point here. Thumbs up to Expense Runner, nice work there. Half checking north for the 2-2. Nice few shots there. Another MG4 to the Use to help contain his opponent's infantry. Need to get that support cop schneller. Need to be ready to push out some army here. I think it's Expense Runner as fast as humanly possible. 2-2 versus the rifle squad, using north, so going for the northern field point again. 2-2 almost good to go. Still no sign of any mines here from Use. Definitely think you could benefit from a few telemines, even S-mines here versus Expense Runner. 2-2 versus the rifleman. Up north, Cornelius with the lieutenant there. Pushing forward for the flyers and the shots. Cornelius is routed up north as Expense Runner is showing no mercy there to his German opponent. Very close there, but there we go. So Palmer crop there for Use. Pack 40 turning around to deal with a half tip. Bazooka team's infantry force gun is a bit of tight spot machine in there. Could open up in the semi-armor piercing rounds. Catches the re-echelons with the bazookas. Gun is doing what they can against the advancing infantry. Just trying to stay at a safe distance of what anti-tank rifle grenades being rushed down by something. Gun is there. Ooh, concussive grenade. Getting the 2 more down to deal damage. MD42 there. Reloading. Gonna need to squat by down south of Godden. Could try and grab some more points here. Try and support by, say, sneaking up there. Of course, his use was aware what's going on with his opponent. Could try and rush in there and maybe take out the ambulance with the armoured cars. Other way, he can soon go for some armour. Fast Black Panther pants would be great. As for Expense Runner, he's actually not far off from a Sherman tank himself either. So could pull in some freedom steel there versus his German opponent. Got a 5th cover there first instead. But there you go, Sherman is available now here for Expensive Runner. There you go, going like 10 from the south, going for a deeper flank there, but in this case, timing could have coincided a bit better with an actual offensive rather than just nothing happening at this point. Sherman on the way there for Expensive Runner, very good, unless you are Used, in which case you're probably less enthusiastic about your opponent going out for tanks, so we got nothing there. Air reconnaissance, giving you a better idea of what he uses up to. What he isn't up to, so thumbs up to Expensive Runner. Air reconnaissance abilities do tend to get overlooked a bit because they aren't nearly as flashy and they just don't make things explode.
The enemy is taken.
Sherman halfway done, aircraft shot down. Crashing down into the tank trap. Apparently it's also an aircraft trap. Ha! 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 Sherman almost done. The expense run reasons opening up the raft. Bazookas, raft joining in. The major being focused on to zooming in here. Going for the ambulance after they're opening up. Close, less than half health. Good. Ooh, the reasons of the run now. You actually take it out there. Almost got the bazooka. Smoke pop there just to ensure they get pop an anti-tank round grenade. Almost got the half track. Could take out the ambulance. Got it. Veteran free there. Almost got the ambulance. Probably going to lose the 2-2 here. Might not be able to take out the ambulance. Got the Sherman moving in. And the armored car is down. A bold raid that we used didn't quite pay off. But still getting a half track in exchange for 2-2 isn't too bad. Panther 4 on the weather for use. Could go for Studio with the Sherman step, but a Panther 4 certainly won't hurt either. Southern fuel point lost here to the Americans once more. Of expensive runner and the 2nd Infantry Division. Northern fuel for their claim by the Grenadiers of the 21st Panzer Division. On the 9th, actually. Panther 4 there, halfway done. Sherman there trying to crush the Grenadiers. Doesn't have to, just explodes 3/4 of it with a high explosive shell. Probably need to get the machine gun out before it gets turned into mincemeat. Remaining 2 turning Southwards, not wishing to join its compatriot in its explosive and terminal fate. The terminal is in the south, 2 moving in, there you go. Panther 4 out for use, M246. Meanwhile, Sherman is on the offensive up north here. It's going to need some support to deal with that fast. Worth noting, we still haven't really seen any mines from UC, which is unfortunate. No telemines, no S-mines. Just no mines. Pack's about to get wiped out. Rapid continue to advance. Panther fast there. 2-2 moving in. Panther 4's finding the move. Getting some damage in there, but with no damage, it's not going to matter much. Machine needs to retreat as well. We got a big push from expense running here with a lot of infantry. Panther 4's in. Risks here losing the pack, but there you go. Infantry to the north here from use. Try to put a stop to that potentially. Sherman there down to half health. Panther 4 there in good condition. Lots of air fighting. Need to get the machine guns into support as well as all this infantry bunched up. I mean, all this cluster of infantry is going to be great for an MD4 for use. And there you go. Setting it up. Here's being hammered. 2-2 also raiding the base here. Quick maneuver there. Thumbs up to use for the tactical awareness for that one. About to lose the Panther 4 though. That's definitely not going to be worth an ambulance. Pop smoke. Pulls away. Going to try and Panther fast it. The rest of the infantry push away. And there goes Sherman. Gets a lucky shot there through the smoke. Knocking out the Panther 4. Bit of a nasty blow there to use. Could grab the pack 14, possibly finish off the Sherman. Yes, got infantry that can do that because they're not in a good condition enough. Oh dear. 2-2 racing behind here, but that's not going to have an impact now on expensive runner. Briefly looked like he was going somewhere, but now the Panther 4's down, and all he's got to show for it is a blown up ambulance, which again, while nice, isn't exactly the sort of results they're looking for at high command. Jawohl, mein Führer, we have done excellent things at the front line. Ja, like what? We have blown up an ambulance. An ambulance, yeah. I'm sure the Americans are terrified. You sure they aren't pissed off? Yeah. And it's Duke halfway on the way there for use. When in doubt, call in the Stoogs. Rifleman on the way there for expensive runner. Smoke screen being unleashed here like a torrent of fog on the front line there. Got Rearsons, and we got Rifleman up there. Ambulance on the way there for expensive runner to replace the one that was so brutally cut down by the Krauts. Stug almost down there. The Sturmgeschütz 3 Ausführung G. Backbone on the German army. Alongside the Grenadiers. The Stug was used in many roles. It was an assault gun, which was in the German army a very flexible role, but it's also used as more specific tank destroyers. Even some precision actually got used as a replacement tank. As a fun fact, if they couldn't get tanks, for example, by 1944-45, they'd get Stugs instead. And it also saw basically serves as a sort of a radio control vehicle for Goliaths as well. So, quite a few uses for the Stug 3G. Also the most produced armoured fighting vehicle in the German army. Lieutenant rushing south, it's there. Should probably add a pinline machine there to it. Could attack ground here to deal with the lieutenant, of course, as well. And there you go. We actually got grenade reach from expensive runner. Thumbs up there. A lot of American players never use the grenades, which is actually pretty good stuff there. And there you go, Lieutenant hold here by the Grenadiers. His men cut down, the Lieutenant forced to retreat. Because he was also dead, in fact. Big push here. Should have the machine guns a bit closer to the front line. Expense running means some good map control versus use. You may want to consider calling in some panzer grenadiers. Stormtroopers probably should have done that sooner, so you had some more lead infantry. Got the 5th cover there. Coursing uses infantry a bit of a rough time. And there you go, Calliope out. That's going to make it harder for use to use the support weapons versus expensive running. Exploding manpower up north here. Rapid reason routed by the MB-42. Calliope then being forced to the M4 Sherman Calliope. Telemines finally down there for use. Thumbs up. Probably was laid down earlier, but you know, only seen it now. The 4th we should also lay down some around the main roads. And there you go, Rapid clearing up the machine gun. When it comes to the barred up infantry and basically upgrade light machine infantry, you actually have the machine gun set up in time. Otherwise, the infantry can just walk straight up and kill it. Even then, sometimes they can still do that. Which does slightly minimize the impact of the MB-40 as an anti-blob tool, because at some point the blobs can just throw straight up against it. Almost got the Sherman there, but he's lost both machine guns. That is a significant blow here to use. Flooding manpower, they need to crew those machine guns fast. He's calling in storms to climb Brash in the infantry, forcing it to veer away, but even then they took so many losses they won't be able to defend. Stormtroopers sitting out there, need to upgrade those fast. Grenade squad, Pioneer squad, Pioneer's bringing up there, needs more armor as soon as possible. Really should have a machine to the stew. And there you go, machine gun grab. That's going to be the second weapon he takes away from use. Looking pretty bad there for him. Stormtrooper from the south, MB-40 weapon is pressed by the MB-42 and the 50 caliber. Really bad development. Then he's flanking in from the other side. Storms continue here through the smoke. And the fire roughing it here on the machine gun. Oh, on the Pack 40. Absolute havoc and chaos reigning on the battlefield. Storms going to deal with the 5th caliber before trying to deal with the stormtroopers. Stuke taking hits over the Pack 40. User situation is looking pretty horrific. He needs to grab that other MB-42 tonight to expensive runner. He really does not want to hand over more firepower to his opponent. North going to grab the northern victory point. Back here, troops reinforcing healing. Should consider another Stug. And repair the first one up, obviously. We got 440 with 1579, so use does have victory point, need of expensive runner, but that's really his only, I think, main advantage at the moment versus the American player. Another Sturmgeschütz on the way. That might lead to a more actual advantage if he can wield them correctly. The thing is, the expensive runner just has a much larger force right now than his opponent. Pioneers running in. Grenades, they're flying at the Grenadiers as they're trying to buy time here. Concussive grenade in return. There we go, that should allow the machine in time to escape here. Second stroke halfway done. Up north, German there, routing the gems from the northern victory point. Back at base, Duke repaired. Being repaired. Need to retreat that machine gun. I'm surprised they actually kept fighting with that, considering its overall condition. Storms will support against the suppressed raft squad. The grenade off here. Ooh. Was hoping it ran straight ahead. Used it not. Smoke grenade off. Perhaps a misclick. Who knows? But our second suit ready there for use. Still a son of machine guns for them. Really should add those. I mean, they're effectively a Grenadier light machine gun with more range and just half the cost, which makes them actually kind of decent, if not good. Grenade here. Bit nasty. Sham rolling out. Heading for the south, they got stormtroopers with the liaison, still backing it all up. Sherman attacking from the north, threatening here, uses northern flank of the southern push. Sherman looks like he's going to raid the base here, putting more pressure than used. Stu going forward, going to pursue this Calliope. Nope, decides not to, probably the best. Sherman straight in the base. Can he deal with it? Can he take it out? Like, if he could take out expensive runner Sherman there, that could give you a bit more freedom movement here versus expensive runner. But even then, he's got a lot of things in his plate at the moment, a lot of challenges ahead of him. Going in to flank the Sherman with a Stu, but need to be careful about that. Good hit though. Veterans 1 gained. Heat shells. But technically a Stu G would not have been using heat shells, there was no need for it. Second shot there from the other Stu. Might be able to take out the Sherman. That's going to be huge there for use. But there you go. Oh, missed it. Barely popping Pantic against trying to sneak through there. And we go. Got the Sherman. Might lose the Stuke nonetheless. Need to retreat the Pioneers. Do surviving shots there. Oh, missed. Lucky there for use. Lucky. Close to 52 as well with additional armor. Another shot there punching through the other Stuke's frontal armor. Now, the Stuke 3G had 80mm of, well, slightly sloped armor here and there. It was also not uncommon to actually have the driver's compartment reinforced with concrete. So it was actually, you know, reasonably tough on the front, which isn't, of course, quite what Relic reflects in game. But little note there. Addition, of course, another advantage of the Stuke was the small size, which the game actually doesn't reflect. It's actually smaller than this. So, little fun note there about the Stuke. So there was the Grenadiers. Picks up the Stuke 3G. Rather than them being hammered by the MD42 Grenadiers moving up. Still, there's a lot of troops on a lot of sides. There go grenade off here. Concussor grenade off. You should definitely get out on Austin, I think, next up, deal with the infantry, put pressure on them, and really begin murdering them. I think that's going to be crucial there for use. I mean, he could also go for the Panther 4, but Ostman is just a bit cheap and a bit faster. And there you go. Flak pounds on the way there. And again, get some machine guns with the Stooges. They really do pay off. And finally, some more Telemines if he finds the opportunity for it. Would also think give him a better chance there. Less expensive runner. So far, none of those quite happening. Got 346 for 379. Stu comes up. There we go. Sets off a Telemon. He actually had one down there, I guess. Taking almost the machine out entirely. Not too shabby, I guess. I'm just surprised there's not been one getting like the main paths here. Particularly this spot for Telemon is a bit funny. Usually don't see a lot of armored vehicle movement there. Stu being shot at there by the pack, but the pack is missing. Osman almost down there for use. Almost. Graham the southern victory point while we're at it. Using the Stormtroopers for that job. Another Calliope barrage. This time it's the Stormtroopers from the south. Also got a counterattack following up. They need to retreat the Stormtroopers. And, oh, never mind. Got wiped by the Calliope. Single lucky strike there. Osman moving in there. Got the Lieutenant. Still no upgrades on the Stooks. Still flooding a lot of munitions there. Grab northern point, I guess, for the Grenadier squad. Yup. Flak Panther rushing southwards all alone, unattended, bit risky there. Could get snared up and then destroyed by a tank or tank destroyer roaming about, but so far no sign of that. Really should upgrade the Stooks again. It just gives some more firepower, which is going to need here versus the American, potentially losing other units. Whatever you can do to like, just damage expense run infantry is really something you should pick. Rushing ahead with the Stooks. Need support for that properly though. Another Calliope out, then interesting move there by expensive runner, but also indicates he's clearly not too concerned with the Stooks, which really should be, but considering the way that uses using them, perhaps there is slight reason there for expensive runner not to be too terrified, not to be shaking his boots.
The enemy is overrunning one of our capture points.
Calliope firing away. Need to retreat the Grenadiers. And wiped out. Stuke firing rather than falling back. Center victory point being seized up north. Stuke on the move there. Down just 2 infantry squads. Use definitely to start making replacements. Meanwhile, expensive runner has plenty of infantry. 3 route squads and the captain. The Suga team's moving ahead. Got a Stormtrooper squad again on the way, this time with G43, so they give Gewehr 43. We got 293 versus 379. Expense runner remains, I think, in an overall solid position. He's feeling very much in control of the situation. Hughes is struggling to break this control. He is struggling. Northern field, they're being seized. Austin moving about here. Right from Usem moving in the south, we got Connors moving up. They're veteran 3, 13 killed. 24 taking back here, close to veteran 2. There you go, Gewehr 43 ready for the Stormtroopers. We got tanked down here for expensive runner. Calliope firing. And Grenadiers about to get annihilated. It's shattered. Utter annihilation.
Point is being overrun.
Great hit there from the pack on the Stug. Expense runner, oh, uses really short on infantry. Again, he's really trying to get anywhere. Like, I feel like he needs to somehow plan a larger sort of thrust here. But the problem is, because he's short on forces for it. Like, his best bet would probably somehow to assemble some assault infantry, get a half-track up, fill it with the assault infantry, then push ahead aggressively and try to shatter expense around the center with overwhelming force and tenacity. Flanking the machine stream from the north, going for the Calipes. Maybe this could work out. There needs to be coordinated with more effort. Almost got the machine gun there. More Calliope firing the south here, rather than the Grenadiers. That looks to be another wipe here. We got Rapid up in flank. There we go. More Stormtroopers out to replace the losses. More T-43s. Got the machine gun there. Small win as opposed for use, but this machine gun is deteriorating. Like the bad up riflemen are quite a threat there to use. Charging up with the Stug there, popping Panzer Tactician. I feel like, again, he's trying to get aggressive, he's trying to finish this off, but the overall execution is hitting some snags. Again, the lack of a light machine for some, or machine on top of the Stug is, for example, helping him up. Well, there's clearly something going on. It may just fall into the category of too little too late here for use. Stug here charging enough the Clive is back behind rear lines. Almost got one the Calliope piece. Small win there. Stug half 8 to new 2. Of course, he's already lost his 22 Stug. Pons between Panzer Tactician. I mean, one thing I've got to say though, he's really good at timing his Panzer Tactician. I mean, he just manages to like pop them right at the right time, a lot of the time, just so right before like his opponent been shooting and he pops the Panzer Tactician. So that's something really surprisingly well timed. But beyond that, his attacks could do with a bit of better timing. On the other hand, lost the second Stug. I mean, he's done just the Flak Panzer. Storms from the north, engaging the infantry support weapons. Another Calliope as he immediately just calls on to begin to bomb the machine gun there, almost taking it out. Storms was moving out. Osmond almost good to, oh, it actually is good to go. The question is, what is it good to go against? We got 283 versus 379. Pushing for the south here. Storms advancing with the Gewehr 43s in their hands. Forcing them away there. Calliope and dying to repair. See for expensive runner. Finally laying down tower mines on the road, sort of along the main road. Probably should have done this one. He's laying up there again. I feel like that one's a bit of a miss. Bit of a miss, but that's just me. Always grabbing a lot of points, he's getting aggressive, he's pushing hard, he's taking advantage of the opening he made. The question, of course, can he actually hold on to that opening? He's going to need armor fast. Going for another Flak Panzer. I don't know. I mean, sure, if he keeps points, keep going for Calipes, and theoretically nice, but he may want to just get a Panzer for just in case. Big push in the south, the catch machine in a really bad spot, and he did Flak Panzer down there fast. It's unfortunately frame occupied up north. Going to need to be hosting the wreckage of the Calliope to deal with the fifth cover there. Very good. Veteran 2-1. Calliope barrage down and wiping out the Stormtroopers. And those Calliope have just been absolutely demonic here against Hughes. Wiping out so many infantry units. Again, which just makes it harder here for Hughes to do much in the late game when just, one Calliope barrage just ends up wiping a unit. Without having how much time to react to it. Troops being suppressed with an MB-42. Second last one setting out there for use. Another Calliope barrage. Machine gun's about to get wiped out. There we go. Down that goes. Flak Panther going in for the rifle squads. Bit of a bad movement there though. He's going to get anti-hit by anti-tank rifle right in front of them. Ace pack full of there's definitely also a problem here for use. Second Flak Panzer needs to get moving. There you go. Infantry pushing ahead here as well. Well, what little infantry is left. Lost the Flak Panzer. Almost got the pack. There you go. Down it goes. But the reactions might be able to finish off his Flak Panzer with bazookas. Gun is being suppressed here by the 5th Company nearby. Got the reactions routed. Small bit of respite here. Expensive Runner still not calling any additional armor. Really should do that, I think. Would make things much easier for them. But here we are. Users barely holding on. Barely any infantry. Barely any support weapons. Barely any armor. Like, he's just barely there. Grenade off on the Pioneers. Nice throw there by Expensive Runner. Captain here flanking the machine gun. Clive here firing away, murdering the machine gun. Most likely, get murdered. He got murdered. On that, I think User's pretty much out of the fight here. Very much out of the fight. And there you go, surrenders. A loss here for the German army, a victory for Expensive Runner. He had some good maneuvers here and there, but they end up feel like he probably should have gone for more focused on the early game. He should have laid mines along the main road more if possible. And he should have flanked in times, I think, more aggressively as his opponent, though definitely some issues there for kept cropping up for years, which Expensive Runner just exploited and just punished him very easily for. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. I've learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it, tell a friend, tell a family, but don't tell enemies. This is Imperial Dating. Cheers, and see you all tomorrow for a nice episode. Bye.